the Crypt of Wax, where we review the latest metal releases, but not today. Today is a re-recording, Mike, of a 2007 release by the band Sigh. Much history with this band, Mike.
Not loads. I've heard one album by him before, which I really enjoyed, called oh fuck, it was in my head a minute ago.
Imaginary
Imag-
Sonicscape. I'm gonna.
Imaginary Sonic because I know you've heard that one too.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've heard by him before, but I absolutely loved it. Um,
Yeah. Jumping straight in, I guess for those not in the know, Psy are a Japanese started off as like a black metal band, formed in like 1989, as Ultra Death, but kind of turned into Psy in 1990. So they've been around for a really long time. Initially started out as like a kind of a lot more just straight up raw black metal sound, didn't they? Uh,
they were, but they'd signed to Euronymous' label in the early days as well.
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, they've been around, man. They've really been around the scene, but they sort of morphed into a bit more of like an avant-garde, a bit just weird and whimsical later on through their discography. And this is so the album we're talking about today is called "I Saw the World's End," which is a re-recording of Hangman's Hymn, which came out in 2007. Um, just, I want to say initially, Mike, had you heard the original?
No, I've only heard that one album, which came out 2001, I believe. So it was pre Hangman's Hymn.
Yeah,
Um, but I have to say, and I know we'll get into it, but when we were doing this re-recording, I was going back and listening to the original as well to sort of compare. And
yeah.
actually, like I listened to Soniscape as well. In amongst all this, to sort of hear where that kind of fits and where you know what my opinions were between this newer version of Hangman's Hymn, the original, and what I thought of it in comparison to Imaginary Sonic'scape as well.
So I guess let me ask you straight off the bat then. Do you think there was a need to re-record it?
No,
No, I don't either.
it. Do you know what it's? Do you know what it is to me? It's like you've redone this album and just sort of made it worse, um, because it's the production on it is so polished.
It's really polished, isn't it?
And I just feel like when you listen to the older album, it's like the same songs basically.
Mm.
But the old album's a lot more raw, not as produced, but it's got more of a charm to it that you associate with this band. Whereas this, I don't know, man. It's like, and this isn't a cost against this guy at all because I like his stuff too. But it almost reminds me in the sense of how produced it is. Like it's like a Devin Townsend type,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's insanely polished. It's insanely modern sounding, but the songs are, you're right, they're more or less the same. But like in terms of what you had originally, like I don't feel there was a need to re-record it. I know the band weren't happy with how it was initially, but like I don't know, to go into to put that much studio time in and like I guess money to re-record
Yeah.
it's a bit of a strange one, so I'm not really sure as to why they did it. But let's kind of jump into the record because it is a very different take from Imaginary Sonicscape, which came out in 2001. I was expecting a bit more avant-garde, but this kind of went down a lot more whimsical modern metal, I want to say.
I mean, do you know what? This is honestly right, and the, the sound of it. If I was to sort of sum it up in a couple of words, it was like ska black metal, like the horns, like sort of
Yeah.
throughout, that were really up in the mix as well. And when
Well, they
you
were the
listen to
prominent thing, weren't they? The horns
really
on this
prominent, and
album.
when
Yeah.
you listen to the original, they were not as full sounding. They were kind of a little bit more background, and they to me they had a bit more of a kind of medieval dungeon synth feel to the synth production or the horn production on the on the album. Whereas this new one, it's so
Front.
clear and sort of big sounding, and it sounds to me in places it's almost like sort of Eurovision sort of thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's got that kind of vibe to it.
I was getting Danny Elfman. It was very
Quite cinematic, wasn't it?
cinematic, whimsical. You could imagine, like, even some of the vocals that they did were it was almost as if it was Nightmare Before Christmas. The kind of the vocals would
Did you nearly say
be
on Elm
almost,
Street?
yeah, I nearly did. They'd be a little bit bratty, that kind of "nah, nah, 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 nah,
Y
nah, 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 nah,"
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of, that sound, and, like, they'd follow the kind of main synth lines a lot as well, which it just kinda took me by surprise. I am gonna say though, Mike, I didn't hate it. It was an I don't know when I would ever listen to this record again, but for the 44 minutes that I listened to it, I think it was such a strange listen that I wasn't like, "Oh, this is horrendous." Like, it kind of kept me mildly entertained.
I hated aspects of it.
Okay, such as?
Just the, like just the production and,
Yeah,
it I did a lot of side by sides going back to the original, and I had a much better time with the original version. I think in this sort of style and what they're trying to do, I think a lesser production just kind of work. It's hard to explain
yeah,
what it is about this version of being so well recorded and so overproduced in a way. Like the drums, I don't know if it's a real drummer or not because I mean they're so highly triggered, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, insanely. That it just sounds like you said, like that's a good point. Like Devin Townsend, it's very just so modern and so polished and so triggered that it does it takes away emotion in a way,
Mm,
but and then because the thing is that there's so much technical ability on show here. Like
yeah.
the guitar, like some of the solos in this are
Oh,
amazing.
incredible.
There's like a solo in every song as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really, really cool. The guitar work in general is really cool. And yeah, the drums, like whether it is, I don't know if it is a real drummer. Like if you know, let us know. But if it is a real drummer, like incredible. The stuff he's performing.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. I can't be sure because I mean it was incredible because it was so triggered the sounds. There is a chance
You don't know.
it might
Might
not
not.
be. Yeah, it was quite hard to tell. Um, But yeah, I know what you mean because there was aspects I had a great admiration for the performances on it when I was listening to it, and there were definitely some really good parts where it was like really fast, quite extreme sounding in that sense, and the riffs were really good, and there was some really excellent parts in it, which I often would then just make me go right. I'm going to listen to the original of this and just see where I sit with that, and I just felt like there was all the charm and stuff that you had in the original was kind of taken away and
Washed
kind of
out.
substituted for like a this really big production value on it.
Yeah. One thing I did enjoy about it was there was a kind of like almost video game like Castlevania esque sound to a lot of the kind of either interludes or solos or moments in it. And I think that was pretty cool. Do you think I don't know if this is like some sort of bias, but like because they're Japanese, there's a bit more of like a an acceptance into it being a little bit weirder in that sense.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, would you guess they were? Would you think they were a Japanese band then by listening to it?
No, that's a good point. Probably not.
I felt like, and I loved it when he did it. He did some cool vocal parts that were quite Mike Patton esque in the kind of weirdness with the
Yeah.
sort of aspect of it, which I think also kind of lends it to that sort of Danny Elfman sound as well. You can kind of picture those two things going together really well. Um, but it, it 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 was a bizarre album for me to see because I then put on fuck, what was it called? Imaginary Sonicscape. John, you gone quiet.
Yeah, no, I
Did
was
you
just
mute? It's dog
yeah,
going
yeah.
off.
Imaginary Sonicescape. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was waiting for you to
Uh,
finish.
oh, sorry. And yeah, I listened to that. It's sort of in comparison even to the first one they did, and I just much preferred what they were doing on that album. It was actually quite different.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't as kind of blast beaty as what they were doing on this one, and it just felt just a bit more. varied, but in a cooler way. What they were doing on the album, it was different, if you know what I mean.
There was a lot more kind of straight, like modern metal in this, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And they did lose kind of the cool avant-garde esque parts that I liked about Sonic's Imaginary Sonicscape.
Can
Um,
you hear that in the background?
no, what's going on now? What's
That's
going on
all.
in today's episode?
Someone downstairs sawing wood.
Ah, I see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can recommend this to anyone.
Well, I was thinking, listening to this, like, and I could be wrong here. This could be a real generalization, but I would imagine people who are fans of Psy are maybe not particularly into metal that's got that real modern, over the top production.
Yeah, because they don't really have it anywhere else, do they? Although I haven't heard other.
The later stuff. Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
heard later stuff. Maybe they went down that route. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I assume they didn't because they're still quite underground in a sense, aren't they?
So well, I was going to say that's another thing. Like, for such an underground sounding band, like this doesn't have an underground sounding
Sound.
bands like thing, especially ones that are almost like a legacy underground band because they've been going so long. Um, and it kind of, when you listen to it, did you? I mean, because the guys in Psy, right? If they started in 1989, they've got to be not like a young band of people, are they? Like they
No,
and
they're going
and
to
the
be in
album,
their 40s or 50s, right?
yeah, yeah. But the album kind of sounds like a younger band. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it is, but it is nearly 20 years old initially, isn't it?
No,
You
but
got
what I mean is, I guess because of the production and things like that, it almost sounds like a younger band that's been snapped up by some semi-big
yeah, I see what
metal
you're
label
saying.
that have got into a studio to write something that's going to really kick off. Um, so it's weird to think of a band that's redoing an album that's nearly 20 years old, who have been going
Yeah.
40 years or whatever.
It's a strange one. I'd be keen to know like if there are any sci fans like watching that have made it to the end of this video. Do let us know like if you prefer this version, if you prefer this version of Psy like compared to their older stuff, or like
Mm.
where it kind of sits in your thoughts because I can't work out why this exists. In all honesty,
And was it? I mean, the original album of this was this. Did this album do well? Like, is it
uh,
one of those where I mean, they've got quite a big discography, so it's quite it's interesting to see that they picked an album that came out in 2007 when they had albums in the 90s and things like that. They might have
yeah,
wanted to redo first if they were going to go down
yeah.
that route.
This reeks of like a COVID experiment, doesn't it? Kind of just they've got time to kill, so let's re-record or
Let's
remaster
redo
an
an
album
album.
or something. Yeah, it's just a bit of a strange one, man. I'm not entirely sure why, but
More
hey,
generally, what do you think of bands doing this, re-recording albums?
that's a good question. I think it has to be in the the right.
Sorry, can you hear the guy singing downstairs? He's
No, is he singing Psy?
Yeah, I could just hear like sort of trumpets and stuff
Da-
going off, blast beats.
da-
Can
Big
you
Psy
hear
fan
it?
downstairs.
Can you
No, I
hear it?
can't. No.
Oh, it's loud up here.
um, I can't even remember the question now, Mike. You've completely thrown me.
So I'm still listening to the singing.
All
Um,
right.
no, so
So,
yeah, so what would you? Are you? What are your feelings on when bands do this? So it's not even just like
oh
a
yeah,
remaster job, but they literally
I
re-record
I
an
think
album that's existed.
I think it has to be in the right setting. Like I think the band has to be like if their first album really like just sounded so garbage, but then in the same time, that's half the charm with a lot of these bands, isn't
That's
it?
what I feel like. I like it. I feel like albums capture a moment.
Yeah.
And normally when bands do it, it is because that album's got love for it, right? They're not going to re-record like a shitty album like this, not their best work musically anyway. There's got to be kind of an appetite for that album to come out again. Um,
What was that Mike Patton project? His initial like death metal.
oh, Mr. Bungle.
No, the it had like a bunny on the front.
Mr. Bungle, wasn't it?
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah, because
Was it?
they stylistically changed. So like their early days, they were more of a sort of thrash, death type thing, and then they changed and went down their sort of weirder route. And then he re-recorded. What he
He
re-recorded
re-record.
was like their early kind
Did
of
that
thing.
come out under Mr. Bungle then?
Yeah. God,
Oh,
I hope
okay.
so. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
really committing to this.
No, I think you are right. So that initial they re-recorded, didn't they? That initial demo, like
Yeah.
or like mini album that they did in like '85 or something. I think that was a good example of re-recording because
Yeah, same.
they,
I agree.
yeah, I think in that instance it works. But I mean, to do an album like this, yeah, it's not the one. But anyway, Mike, we have completely digressed and taken up a lot of the viewers'
Well, I
time.
haven't got much to say about this album really, other than that, like, I don't know. I, don't- I, don't- I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I just didn't connect with it.
Yeah, no, I
The
didn't. It
production,
was
the production took me out of it. If you know what I mean.
the production. All right, takeaways. The production is the main point as to why this didn't
I
hit for us.
didn't need
And we'll
those.
add the
I didn't need
songs
those
as well.
horns so clear. I didn't
Yeah,
need them so clear. They were so loud, so full, and so
yeah, they
like
were.
they just took control of it for me.
I think yeah, in sections it was okay, but for the whole album and it was a lot of it. It was a little bit much. But
Do you
listen,
think
if you
some
like
of
what you heard,
do you agree with it? Some of it almost reminded me of like the way horn sections work in like ska punk bands.
y- now you've said it, yeah, I wasn't really getting that at the time, but
I ruined it for you.
well, I'm not going to go back to it, so not
Okay.
really. Um, but no, yeah, I guess that is a good take. Avant-garde, ska, black metal. Listen, if that is your
Ugh, it sounds
thing,
horrible, doesn't it? Like, that would that is not going on.
if that is your
Less than
thing,
Sigh.
yeah, less than sigh. Real big sigh. Um, that's how
And then
we
just a
felt
really
about this
loud
record.
sigh, like,
Yeah. Let us know, like, if you know what your thoughts are on this album, because I am keen to know where it sits with a lot of sci fans. If you like what you heard, give us a like and a subscribe. We put out videos every Wednesday and Friday covering the latest. Is it even the latest? It came out recently, so yeah, the latest metal releases, and we will catch you in the next one.